I mean, what do you think when people are in debt right now, Gino, like what would be the first step you think to help people out from their situation to get them into a better environment or a better life?
So, I mean, if people are, if I was in debt, what would I do, right? So I would
Yeah.
say, like, if you're in a situation where I've been in situations where I had, X number of credit cards or loans or things that I, may not be able to afford at the time that this had happened to me in the past, where I learned to kind of, learn how to get out of the situation and how to maneuver from it. But basically, debt is something that we fall into because we tend to spend more money than what we're making. So that's what kind of like causes the whole debt cycle. And you just keep, be digging yourself a bigger hole. And most working Americans that, back when I was, working a 9 to 5 or a collar job, people that I know that were in the system, they were all making a certain amount of money, but it was fixed, right? They were making so
Yeah.
much money, but then they have these ambitions and desires, and their desires may outreach their income level. So they go and buy themselves a Mercedes or a BMW, and then they shouldn't be buying that, or they shouldn't afford that. And I think that's like, it's all about the image, right? Everybody's image is constantly being, scrutinized, and if you don't have money, you kind of fall into that debt cycle. So I would say, if you're in debt right now and your credit is not where it's supposed to be,
Yeah.
almost like how much money can you make and how fast will it take you to clean that debt up? And we're not financial advisors or anything, but we're basically giving everybody an idea, a hypothetical situation. How do you make it where people are able to come out of this situation? We understand that people get into situations because of various reasons. But this situation may be related to something that they may have done, or it's also another reason someone else may have done that to them, right? Whatever happened is that the person now in the situation needs to get out. You have no reason to pay those debts off. You have
Yeah.
no reason. If you feel that you are in a situation where you have no money to eat and you have no money to feed your family, are you going to pay that loan or that interest or that insurance or that, or you're not going to do that, or that credit card, right? You're going to be in a situation where you need to be able to stop all the expenses, remove all, monthly expenses other than housing, if you need to live somewhere and have a roof over your head, but remove all of that and be able to, kind of go into debt settlement, basically. And I
Yeah.
recommend debt settlement over bankruptcy because it allows you to come back at a quicker pace rather, and also doesn't stain your credit report as much of a bankruptcy would. So and credit manipulation is not manipulation, it's the law, right? We have the right to have reporting information that's accurate to your credit report, and we have that right as a consumer to make sure that our credit is accurately being reported. Now, if I fell into debt and I couldn't afford the debt, I'm not gonna fall, I'm not gonna drown and die, So, killing yourself or any of that stuff is off the table, right? So
Yeah.
remove all debt is not worth dying for. Debt is a number, it is a hypothetical information, just like money. Money is looked at like, as an actual physical thing when it's actually in the sky and almost like a cloud thing. You have to think of it like it's just, credit is money. So you can connect the two in very straightforward ways. The only difference with credit, it has interest, right? So if
Right.
you borrow credit, it has interest. Basically, you remove all debt, you settle your debt. And if you're able to settle that debt over a period of time, there's a lot of companies that provide that. We have companies that we work with that would help people settle their debt or go through debt settlement process. And that can, settle for over 50%, 45%. I've had settlements for customers that they'll settle their debt and they'll come out 40%, they'll be debt free.
Right.
30% they'll be debt free. They only paid 30 to 40% of what they owed. Now, the reason you can do that is because by law, you're protected. Okay. You're protected as a consumer because of, unforeseen events. You've gone through some kind of hardship. You're able to get out of those debts. Okay. And that's the best thing. You don't have to pay 100% of your debt, but it's also not worth doing a bankruptcy. So if I would recommend to do a debt settlement to get out of debt, and then you'll be able to settle that debt over time. There's companies that provide that. They'll give you time or over time to work with us. We can help you guys get signed up to that, and then you're able to go through the process and pay over time and get out of debt. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if the debt has been written off by the bank and is no longer being paid, and they have no right to report that on your credit report. So then we're able to remove those through the credit repair process fairly quickly. So you're able to get yourself back faster than if you went through a bankruptcy or anything else. So you do want to just stop making payments on all your accounts. Sounds kind of bad, but you want to literally stop making payments. You want to go into a debt settlement state where you over 3-4 months the account's going to default state, and then you're able to kind of like then explain yourself and tell them, okay, well, this is what happened. This is why I had to go into debt. And that's what we basically we'll do. The first step is to remove debt, all bad debt, by not paying it and by settling it, not going into bankruptcy, and being able to turn around and repair your credit at a faster rate. Even if it goes into collections, even better. So you won't even have to see that. Hopefully they don't report. If they do, collections are removable. Written off debt from banks are removable, but the balance will still stay. You just need to be able to settle that debt, and what you can do out of your credit report. It doesn't have to be in your credit report. It could be outside your credit report. You're still responsible. They could still potentially sue you if you don't pay for it. But that's why you can do the debt settlement process, or debt consolidation, they also call it, where you can consolidate your debt and then remove that over time and out of your credit report.
I mean, I'm just thinking sitting here, I think you've got all the facts, but I think really people need to they have to want to change, right? Like, I mean, you don't want debt collectors calling you every day. You don't want to not have fucking money to, buy the kind of food you want or the kind of clothes you want or drive the kind of car you want. So it's like, there comes a point, I think, where everyone is just like, yeah, you're in debt. You're going to either keep being in debt, or you can decide that you're going to change your life, right? And you can start to attack the debt, the debt that you have on your credit. You can attack getting out of the situation where you're at by, using your time to do revenue generating activities. And then also just like Gino was saying, get out of bad debt, right? Just get out of the bad debt. You don't have to pay it all off, but you do have to spend some time and analyze what got you to this certain situation, and then say, enough is enough. It's time to move up. I mean, you've got 15 houses, 20 cars. I bet you had a moment where you were your life wasn't quite this awesome. You know what I mean? It was probably got out of college or whatever, everything was kind of shitty. You got into a bunch of debt, and you had to make a decision though. I'm going to change and I'm going to do something different. Right.
Yep. Absolutely. That's exactly what it was. It was the realization that I couldn't depend on anyone other than myself to survive essentially.
Right.
But, when you get out of college, I have a master's in engineering, I have a master's in business, so I thought I was I'm good, I got my degrees.
Yeah.
I'm got my shoulders on, I got my badges. But look, when you go to work, you're set to a certain amount of income. When I was first starting, I was making a certain amount of income. I was good. But then as my life progressed, I realized that my standard of living may not be where my income would kind of be at. So I'm like, well, things are getting more expensive and I'm not getting paid more. Inflation is at 5-6%, and I was only getting a 3% raise at work. So right. It's just this is common across the board. I mean, if you get 3% now, you should be happy. I'm being serious. A lot of companies, I'm talking about top companies, I don't want to mention names, but basically companies that are, you would say 400-500 companies, all these companies that, that are paying, top dollar for engineers, sciences, you name it, right? All these high degree levels of degrees, like computer science degrees, they're not making as much. If they went private, they'll probably make more money at Amazon, for example, and anywhere else. But again, at the end of the day, those jobs are still tight and they're limited, and they get increased by a certain number of percentages over the years. And as inflation grows, the money is growing, the money is inflating. It's just just nonstop. And you're like, oh, I'm only making $120,000 a year. But that gas just went from $3 to $5 or $6, right. And then you have your food goes up, and then your housing expense. If you're renting, your landlord is probably increasing your rent, right? So you're just constantly everything's just going inflating, but your income hasn't changed. So you're kind of in this vicious cycle of continuing to fight debt.
Right. And I think that's job stands for just over broke, right? Or they pay you a salary for you to give up on your dreams, right? That's pretty much.
I was in the same situation. I had, what got me out of that is that realization, and that, talking to other people, a lot of the baby boomers I knew back then, they're like, oh, go into real estate, start making money. I'm like, well, how do I get into real estate? How do I get into, these passive incomes, or these other opportunities? And I didn't know any better, so I was like, well, let me just hustle. Let me just
Right.
hustle and try to find new opportunities. And I started doing it by starting to buy my own real estate. I bought real estate. I bought for myself. I took a risk, in the fact that I had a company that was paying me at the time. And I was like, well, I don't think they'll lay me off in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, let me take a risk, right? Let me take a risk. So I took a risk. I jumped it. I bought the property. I made the renovations, used the money I was making while I was working. I had to do all this, and house hacking. I had to rent out rooms if I had to. I build additional units if I had to, just to be able to continue to grow. And it took one step at a time. But in order to get to that step, I had to learn so much to be able to even buy a house. You
Right.
know, like you have so much stuff that you have to make sure you're out of debt. You have your slate is clean. You have no bad inquiries. You have no bad accounts. You have no negative remarks on your credit report. On top of that, you need money. So it's like, well,
Right.
besides being a clean slate, if you're in debt and you're in bad debt, you're like -2. You got to
Right.
get to -1. It's like remove your credit, get your credit clean, and then 0 is like, oh, your credit is clean and you have good accounts reporting. That's
Right.
like the process. And then from there, you can actually go and get money, or get money that you can, want to buy a house. You need to be able to get a loan.
Right.
Nobody's going to give you a house if you don't have a good credit report or have good credibility. So back to that credibility is the fact that, if you're in your life, if you're a credible person and you've never screwed people over, that credibility follows you like a grade report. When you went to high school and you got your grades, or college, you get your grades. In this case, you get a grade along the way as you make your payments. So essentially, you want to have a good credit report, a grade report in that sense, so you can start accessing money. And then that's when I started to use money that was available to me because of my credit. As I grew my credit, I accessed money, and I leveraged money that was not mine, other people's money. I would say banks' money, and use that to make investments, and then pay that back with my income, and as well as my extra hustle jobs that I started doing. I started a car rental business. I started doing other businesses that I'm running now with my family. We do other things as well. But at the end of the day, like I used other income to pay off that debt, good debt, and then acquire cash flowing assets.
Right. That's the magic.
Yep.
And I mean, it's pretty wild. Like basically figure out your financial, pain points, figure out what you've been doing wrong, decide that you're going to change. And like we talked about, like, we're going to definitely give people different kinds of ways to make more money. But honestly, it's like having that insight, like, hey, I'm just going to hustle my way out of debt, fix my credit. And then as soon as you can actually do the hard work, right? Everybody has to do, at least a couple months of serious like contemplation, figuring it out. You're going to have access, though, to more money than you've probably had in your entire life, right? You're going to have access to other people's money. And sure, there's going to be a percent of it, but you're going to have to use that money to change your life, though, to change your situation. Like, we're not talking about, hey, let's get a bunch of debt so we can go buy, shoes and Gucci bags or whatever, but it's like cash flowing assets that we can literally use to make more money than we had before and change our financial situations.
I would say yes. It's like the trick is to be able to get yourself in a position, right, to actually be able to make a move rather than
Right.
be stuck in the same position. And that's where the whole idea of the rat race, right? You just are like, you're just kind of moving back and forth. You're constant, you're getting to debt, you're paying debt down, you're working. You're getting to debt, you're
Yeah.
paying debt down, you're working. So you're never really out of debt, and you're never really succeeding, or unless you have money saved. But what are you doing with your money? Now, if anyone on the call has a money right now, I hope that money is working for them. And if it's not, they're not doing what they need to be doing. And that's the biggest thing, is that this whole program is for people to get out of debt, get their credit right, get access to money, other people's money, and I say bankers' money in this case. You don't have to go to other people and ask for money. You can get money through yourself, through your own credibility, and banks
Yeah.
will give you money. And you want to build those relationships. This is all it's about building relationships. And as you build relationships, the more money you get access to. And I'm talking about like personal and business. And over $100,000, I got access over $350,000 in personal and business credit and loans that I was able to get lines for because of my business, because of my personal credibility. So we can build that. You can help build that and learn about how to do that, and that's something that we can guarantee you'll get, as well as getting yourself to the point where you are able to leverage and grow by producing or investing in cash flowing assets and start building a future for yourself and building that generational wealth, which is going to make the difference in your future and as well as your family's future. Because it takes one person really, my parents, they worked at McDonald's. My dad was a cab driver all his life. They didn't do anything that was special. The only thing they did well, I told them, was they bought the house that they live in. I was kind of raised in
Yeah.
here in Glendale, California. But essentially, life has been nothing but straight struggle, which is 90% of the 99% of the population, I would say, is
Yeah.
constantly in this rat race. Very few people get out, and we want to be able to make a pathway for all those individuals to kind
To
of
get
do what
out.
me and you did, Robert, is be able to grow businesses, learn how to leverage debt, and also grow financial and generational wealth.
Get out of bad debt, improve your credibility, learn how to get access to the bank's money, right? And then turn it into cash flowing assets. And I mean, like, there's that one quote, it's like, most men live quiet lives of desperation. Like, you don't have to do that any fucking more. There's a road that's going to take you from the situation that you're at, open up your mind, open up opportunities to the point where you can be successful. Most people, like, they make up excuses. There's no more excuses now to get from where you are to creating cash flowing assets, to having businesses, having real estate, living the life that you want. And you don't even have to like go insane. You can create very easy, passive income from this and create a comfortable life for yourself. Or you can take what we're teaching you, go all out, become like the next like big Grant Cardone guy or whatever you really want to do. But this is the step that you have to go down to get there. We're pretty much providing that to people.
Exactly. You hit it on the nail right there, Robert. I think, we have that idea that we all want to be free and financially free, but we don't know what to do. Not everybody,
Yeah.
nobody told me what to do. I didn't know how to do what I did.
Yeah.
I just did it. So it's like I learned because because I use my skills that I learned in school, as my what my parents have taught me, the people around me, my mentors. I had I would say $1,000 mentors, $1 million mentors, and now I have $1 billion mentors that are teaching me to get to the billionaire mark, which is where I want to be in my life, because I know I can get there. So it's like,
Yeah.
where do you want to be? It's a matter of time for you to understand what is your time worth.
Right.
That if I leave anything, when you go to work tomorrow and you just think about, what is your time worth? Is your time worth what you're doing? Do you like what you're doing? Do you feel like what you're doing is making a difference in your life? Or are you just doing it just to survive? Now,
Yeah.
if that's where you are, this is the program for you. This is the time to change your life and make that difference and make that change. Because at the end, we're all gonna die, and it's better to live this life the most positive way possible and enjoy and appreciate family, friends, and everybody around you. In order to do that, you need to be able to separate yourself from the day-to-day job, right?
Hmm.
And the time as we spend at work, 8 to 10 hours a day, you're not going to have that time back. So if anything,
Yeah.
make that change in yourself, do it for yourself, do it for your family, and really build something and grow with yourself and also the people around you. Build a network, communicate yourself, and start networking with people like us. Then you'll start to see those changes, and that's what we want to provide for those individuals that want to see the change. Either they're just starting off, or they're already doing it, or they want to do more. We can help everybody along that line, as well as invest with us. We have other opportunities that we can do in the future, and if you're in a position where you want to invest and you really have your credit right and you got your money all right, we can get you more money. If anything, you'll get more money with us, and you'll be able to use that money to invest. So
Yeah.
either way, wherever you are, let us know. I think that's what really makes people understand why we do what we do. We do what we do not for ourselves, do it for our families and for everybody around us.
Yeah. And I mean, inside Credit Leverage X, like, you're going to have accountability. So we're going to like be able to sit down with you, hold you accountable, tell you like, this is your goal, this is where you want to go. And then we're going to make you like a customized roadmap to fixing your credit, getting your funding, and then turning it into a business or a cash flowing asset or real estate, whatever you're interested in. But you're also going to meet other like-minded entrepreneurs inside of our community. You're going to have new opportunities. I mean, I was telling Gino, like, the more people that come into the program and we fix your credit, if we have, 5 people, each of them get access to 100,000, but then we create like a little group. Now we have a $500,000 group that we can go in and do investments together. and it's just going to be able to take people places they never thought they would go. So we're going to have in-person events. We have, every single day we have at least access to me, myself, Gino, or someone on our team. We have weekly coaching calls, and we have like the bulletproof path to, the working American's way to get riches. So if anybody wants to change their life, if you really want to do something different than what you're doing now, like you have the choice to either stay where you are and stay stuck, join our program, find the roadmap, start doing the work, and we'll help you every step of the way and get you to where you really want to go.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to say, you don't have to quit your job right away. Some people say, oh, this guy wants, no, it's not about that. It's like, you can keep your job as long as you need to, but you should also do something else to make a difference. And if you don't know what you do on your own and you need the help to get yourself to the point where you can do something, we'll help you there. And if you're in a position where you can do something, or you have credit is good, you have money, then you're still in a position to do something, but you don't know what to do. There's also opportunities like that there as well. So you just have to see where you are. But we get you funding. End of the day, it's all about finding that time where you're you spending at work and basically monetizing it in a better way, doing something else. And that's where I want to get is that you don't have to be if you're already making it and you're doing things and you're working, you can keep your job, keep your 9 to 5, but you can also do things on the side that may allow you to retire early. Be able to do other opportunities and make those passive incomes, instead of just having to depend on a job to survive and keep your family fed. I'll pay it back with interest. As long as I get my money and I get my real estate, I don't give a crap. And that's one thing that I want to say. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you buy the real estate yesterday, tomorrow, the biggest crash, the highest crash, or whenever the market is so high. Like I bought real estate, I was just buying along the way. Have I made money regardless? Yes, no matter what. At the end of the day, even if you have to pay back with interest on that credit card, on that loan, whatever, as long as you are able to have cash flowing assets and you're able to pay those debts off and you're able to acquire, cash flowing assets like real estate, which is passive, and also more value than dollar, then you are going to win no matter what. There's no loss in it. All you got to do is make sure you take the risk and jump into it. But right now is the most important time, as we mentioned, generational transformation. People are going from being, 100-aires or dollaraires, making no money, to becoming millionaires, to becoming billionaires, right? The generational transformation. So before I was, in the first, 100-aire, making $100,000 a year, to jumping over to by myself without the generational shift has even occurred. I prepared myself to become a millionaire, and I'm making millions because of all the real estate. But at the same time, I'm also getting ready for the biggest change in generational change for individuals that either are already making millions or those that are in the middle class to become millionaires, to now invest and prepare for that change. But you need to be ready. If you're not ready financially, you don't have the money, access to money, or other people's money, then you need to get that right. If you don't have credit right, if your credit is kind of subpar, you're not above 750, I would say, then you're not ready. Okay, you need to be above 750 or more to be ready to make those investments and make multiple investments when the market comes down. Real estate is a good time when the market is down always, and everybody knows that. But is it always good time to buy? I would say no. Right now is not the best time to buy. The best time to buy would be when the market is at its lowest, and you want to buy as many as you can at that time. Right. So, what do you want to be? You want to be ready. So if you're not ready and you don't have your finances ready, you don't have your financial situation ready, then you need to get your credit fixed. You need to get those trade lines. You need to get your access to money available or ready to go. Otherwise, you're going to be using your own money, and whatever money you have in your bank, you're going to be limited. You're not going to be able to buy 5, 6, or even one property if you don't have enough money. And in California, you need over $100,000, $150,000 just to buy one. So. I can buy one right now, but I'm not going to go buy one. I'm going to wait because I can buy 2 when the market comes down, or I can buy 3. But I'm not even going to use my own money. I'm going to go and use other people's money that I have access to, and I can leverage that money and buy 5 or 10, and basically do what banks do is basically do kind of like use $1 and get 10, right? The same concept. Instead of leveraging all your own money and being limited, become unlimited, become in a way where you're no longer depending on only yourself. Now you have access to over $200,000 on the back end, as well as your own cash. So of course, if you have over $500,000, if I told you right now, hey, Robert, you got $500,000 in your access and money, and you can use that money to invest in anything you want, and you're ready to go, and the market is about to crash, and you're about to become a millionaire. Like, how is that going to change your life? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that is insane. That's why right now is the biggest gold rush in the world, and I think everybody knows it, and everybody's waiting for it. So prepare yourself and get yourself situated, because there's not going to be another chance in our lifetime to do so.
Yeah, the rodeo of the roller coaster, man. It's gonna go up, bubble's gonna pop, come down, and then that's when you want to buy, when prices are fucking go back down and get low, man. But yeah, I think it was Pace Morby. He was making a metaphor. He's like, if you go to the grocery store, you get all your groceries, you buy them, but you pay for them with a credit card. Who owns the groceries? The credit card company doesn't fucking own the groceries. You own the groceries. That's your asset. That's the same thing we're trying to do here. We're going to go buy these houses, right? We're going to put it in our name. We're going to own an actual asset that people can live in, that will pay you monthly, that you'll be able to make a profit on. And then, yes, you'll have to pay the credit cards off, but you can have other people pay the rent for the house to pay off the credit cards. You own the house, though. And now you own the house. You can never sell the house, and your family can own the house forever. You know, it's just like totally different. Whereas you use other people's money, it's all just, monopoly money at the end of the day. You just need to learn how to start playing the game,
Exactly, and this is what it's all about: teaching people how to get themselves in a position where they can play the game. You before playing the game, you need to get your financial situation situated. If you have any kind of debt, get that all settled and ready to go, and we can help you there, and also get you to the point of getting money that you didn't have. So, and credit is along the way. You have to have credit, and that's where we have the expertise in our team. They'll help you get your credit right, and then get you to the next step. So that I want everybody to understand. You're not alone. So we've done it. We've gone through the process, and I'm just kind of just waiting to make that next move. And I'm just I'm still getting my credit even better than what it's at. I'm still cleaning things up. I'm still making sure there's nothing that's on my credit report that doesn't need to be there, as well as getting access to more money. And I'm getting bombarded right now because my credit is so good. I'm getting bombarded by continuous spam calls, and just like they want to give me money. Like
Yeah,
they
that's a good thing.
money. And they call me, like, I just got a call this morning. Hey, I want to get, hey, are what is this is so and so for business funding, blah blah. I'm like, well, you're calling a guy that's already in the industry, but sure, how much money do you want to give me, and what's the rate?
Yeah.
So
And then you can get these
the
rates.
day, like and that's where I build networks and connections, and I have a lot of networks and I have a lot of connections. We have over 25,000 banks we can apply to for people all over the nation, and we apply for local banks. And also, if you're in a different state, we're in California, Arizona, Robert's in Arizona, but any state where you are, you can get access to money. We can get you funded.
Yeah.
So and that's the beautiful part about this, and we'll help you. We'll go through it with you, so that
Yeah.
way you're not worried about any of your stuff being stolen and all that stuff. People have worries about, oh, my social security, all that stuff. Like, we secure everything's secured. Everybody is on that same page, and you're going to be going through the applications with us. You'll be going through the whole process. That way everything is transparent.
Yeah.
And the credit repair, you'll see a credit change. Credit doesn't, you don't pay for credit repair until you see a change, and we'll get you that your credit started, and next thing you know, you'll pay for it and pay for the credit repair. Your funding, you'll pay us to get you funded. You'll go through the process with us. At the end of the day, you'll see things progress. That way, it's not just like, oh, I'm paying for a service and I don't see results. You're gonna be on the Zoom calls with us. We have a weekly Zoom call just for everybody else, and then we'll have individual Zoom calls for individuals that want to get funded or are ready to get funded. You don't have when you call the bureaus that you don't have any accounts or that were like recently applied for, or anything that was like
Oh,
kind
okay.
of fishy, that you weren't sure. Like, I just got kind of like went through the process right now. Just like my driver license wallet
Yeah.
got, so I'm like, well, shit, I guess this is another opportunity for me to learn.
Right.
So here I am, realizing, what it takes to get all this stuff kind of cleaned up. And now, like, I have to freeze my credit report. You can freeze it, and then
Oh,
that way they can't run any credit transactions. And that way, I would say it's even more protected, because then, like, anytime you want to buy something, you just unfreeze it. So that
right.
way you're basically controlling your credit at that point, fully controlling it. Because if it's out in the market and somebody applies for something, then you got to deal with cleaning your credit, and it's just more of a headache. So it's
Yeah.
almost like better to just like keep it protected and locked, unless you need to open it and then use it and then lock it again. It's like
Yeah.
it's like you use it when you need it. You don't leave it open for the public to just, God forbid someone gets a hold of your driver license, like mine. Someone got a hold of my driver license. They may get a hold of my social one day, or if they have my social, or they even have it, they could potentially use it against me. So I'm protected from all of that and any kind of fraudulent activity, as well as anything that's happened in the past, and that will kind of also make the bureaus be more respective of you, because you are, you have your account locked and you have an alert set, and then they're gonna be like, well, this individual respects us. He
Yeah.
respects time. He doesn't want to just like leave it open, because this whole issue happens to people is because they leave their credit open to the whole public, and then something happens and like, oh, how did this happen? How did I get identity theft? And
Yeah.
then
You got to monitor it.
one identity theft can literally ruin your life. Like
Yeah. I've
literally,
heard.
like your entire life could be ruined just because someone stole your identity or got information from you that they shouldn't have gotten.
Yeah.
So you want to protect yourself, and the bureaus, your identity, your credit report is basically your identity in the financial world. So if your identity is affected and your credit report is affected because of someone took advantage of you and took and did stuff that's not good and used your name doing it, whether it's on the financial side, loans and not paying loans, but you didn't know about it and you forgot about it because you didn't check your credit report. I've seen it happen over and over again. The best thing we can teach people is to lock their credit and make sure they're protected. And then that way, any applications that they do, they just have to make the effort of just
Oh,
unlocking it,
unlock it.
and it's safer that way because you're doing it.
Right.
And that way and then you can just lock it up again because you don't want would you want your social security or your driver license floating around? No, right?
No.
Same
Yeah.
thing situation here. Like when you use that, we use that information to remove certain things, but we don't in our system is very secure. Everything is there only for the eyes of the contract that says that your stuff will be secure with us and we will protect it. We're responsible for it. So we have to make sure we take control of it and we will protect it and make sure that that information is secure and only shared with the credit associate that's working on your file. And that's it.